Darci's Corner, and today is July 23rd, 2021. We're hopefully we're in the last stages of a pandemic, at least in this part of the world, anyways, in Alberta, Canada, where I'm at. But we'll see what happens. It's affected so many things and so many lives. And I don't know what you did with your pandemic. I changed my gender. And it's been a wild ride. And I want to try to explain to the general public or people who don't understand this. And if you are a trans person who's been through this and you do have a better explanation for this, I would love to see a comment, or like you could put your own video, because this information is really hard to explain to the cisgender population. I was explaining it to a girl at work the other day a little bit. Not that I don't mind sharing this experience with people, and if somebody has a good faith question or curiosity about how my life is going, I don't mind talking about it, as long as we don't want to be offensive or rude or anything, and I wasn't. And I was trying to explain to her what dysphoria is. And just because she genuinely didn't really understand, but she was just curious about the whole situation, really. But it was a good conversation to have. It's the kind that you want to have with people. If you feel comfortable talking about this, you want to educate the public. You want people to know what our life is like, because we're not on TV. Okay, there's no reality show with trans people, and if there was, oh my goodness, like, the religious zealots would lose their minds. For the most part, my people, the Mormons, would not be able to handle that kind of televised entertainment, I don't think. Not very well, anyways. They would definitely have some problems. Anyway, anybody can experience dysphoria. Everybody probably has experienced dysphoria at one point in time or another. Dysphoria, in simple terms, is a feeling of discomfort when you find yourself in a situation that doesn't feel right for your gender. So a very good example, if you've ever walked into the wrong bathroom accidentally, and like after a moment you realize you're in the wrong bathroom, trust me, the majority of us, this is before I realized I was trans, there was sometimes an instance where I might end up in the ladies' bathroom because an emergency was happening and I had to get in right away. And then like a little bit into it, I'm like, why is there a garbage can in the stall? Men's bathrooms don't have garbage cans in the stalls because, generally speaking, men don't menstruate. Trans men might, but cis men, pretty common to not menstruate, so they don't need pads. Anyway, you feel uncomfortable. You're like, oh, I shouldn't be in here. I'm in this space that's not meant for me, and this is wrong. And that's how you feel. You feel like you're in the wrong space. You feel like you're doing something it feels off. If you've ever had to put yourself in a situation, if you've ever been put in a situation, rather, where you had to take on the aspects of the opposite, traditionally speaking, the opposite gender. So let's say you are a cisgendered man, and for whatever reason you're wearing a dress, because it's a thing at work, or maybe it's a joke or something. Then again, maybe you lost a bet. I don't know. You feel awkward and stupid the whole time you're doing that, because that's not normally you. I don't know, going the other way, what it's like for women to be put in situations where they have to be masculine or man up. But it happens. Of course it happens. And when you're in that moment, you feel discomfort. You feel something feels wrong and off, and like you don't like it. Being in the opposite role. You might get through it. You might do it. You might bear down for the moment, and like you're just going to get this done. And that's great. But that's for a moment. You can't sustain that. The ultimate sadness that will encompass you if you are put in a dysphoric situation for an extended period of time, especially to the point where you lose all hope that you're ever going to end that situation. And there's lots of uh, scenarios that are happening right now around the world where there's trans people who are stuck in the opposite role, and there's no room for them to get out of it because their society or their immediate environment will not allow it. And if they do it, somebody will show up and chop their head off or throw them in a river, or they'll lose everything. And you get to a breaking point and you get so sad, and you don't see an end, you don't see a way out, and you do not want to be here anymore. Like, you just don't. I should have put a trigger warning at the beginning of this, because I hope that doesn't induce that in anybody. I don't let myself dwell on that too much because I'm aware of how much progress I still have to make. I'm aware of how masculine my voice sounds, my face looks. I'm aware of how precarious my employment situation is. Whereas before I could find a job full time for $22 an hour, and now I'm begging for a job for part time, $15 an hour. It's a different world I'm in now, isn't it? And it's not fair, and it's not right, but it's the one I'm in. I'm very resentful of the fact that I didn't take care of this in my 20s. In my teens would have been fine too, but then my daughter might not be here, and I'm glad my daughter's here. So, but certainly in my 20s, I should have looked after this. I didn't know what it was, and I was afraid to explore anything gay, even though I always knew I was a little bit gay. Um, and that was my upbringing, did that to me. I have to believe that anybody who truly understood the sadness that the dysphoria can bring on to a person, and the feelings of, I'm not going to try to get into it because I don't want to relive it, but if you truly understood that, there's no way you would ever go to somebody you love and go, I want that to be the last day of your life. I want you to feel that horrible, that disgusting, that lost for the rest of your life, which might only be a day or two, because there's no way. You know, they told me at one of the support groups I went to in the beginning that you can get super sad and you can feel suicidal, and I just never ever felt that about this before my turn. It's almost 40 when I felt so sad I was like suicidal. But I never felt that before, and so I didn't think it would ever get that bad. I I just thought, well, I can just put it off and do it later. I'll be fine. That's okay. I can just put it off and do it later. I'll be fine. Now it's later and I'm not fine. So you can't put it off and do it later. You can, but the longer you wait, the harder it gets. I'm aware there are people older than me who are transitioning now, and do it. The best time to transition is always now, pretty much. If you're over the age of 15, I should say. If you're 15 and under, yeah, wait. Because this condition varies from one individual to the next. So obviously you'll consult your family, your doctor, whoever else if you're a teenager or you're starting this for a teenager, you want to be very careful at that stage. But it is so much easier to transition socially as a kid. And if you want to transition medically, you're going to get basically the optimal results starting, 15, 16, even 18 is fine. You're going to get pretty good results pretty quickly, and you'll be able to adapt. Something I didn't realize when I was a kid, because you don't, and by kid I mean like in my 20s, is how much faster that mind works. Because I'm at work now and I've got kids, 16-year-olds or 20-year-olds, and they're running circles around me on the computers, which is fine. I'm computer literate, but like not like they are. And I watch their brains and fly through it, thinking, oh, in 20 years you won't be doing that no more. You'll have to stop and think a bit, and it won't. If you're doing something unfamiliar, it won't flow like it does for these kids now. That's the time to develop habits. That's the time to decide which path you want to follow. But you have to work with what you got. And I didn't decide that then, so I'm deciding it now. But I'm very angry and resentful of how hard things are for me because I didn't do this then. And it would have been so much easier then. It still would have been hard, but a lot easier. And it would have flowed so much better. Anyway, this is Darcy's Corner. Dysphoria is real. Everybody gets it. It's just most of us are never in a situation where we experience it knowingly. So I want to put that out there. I want to share that with the straight and trans community. And I hope this helps somebody. Okay. Darcy's Corner, out.